Well, here we are, and it seems way too early for this, but it does look like winter's maybe kind of over already. It's only the first week of March, and that's extremely early for us to have weather this warm. The snow on the south side is pretty much gone. I can't walk on this ice. It's now dangerous. And I think we can actually get this aerator on, the solar-powered aerator. I usually hook this up about, I don't know, 3 weeks to a month later than this. But I think we can get through this ice pretty quick. I love this aerator. It's so simple. Solar panels there, pumps on the back. I did a couple videos on this. Just super easy. What you see is what you get, and that's all that you need. Once that solar panel hits the sun, you can hear the pumps turn on, and that's as easy as that. All you have to do is slip it over the post, tighten it down, position it to whatever angle you want on the sun, and then all we have to do is get this air line hooked over the outlet on the pump, and you're gonna make some air. This is such a simple unit to use. I've done a couple videos in the past on this. You can check those out if you want. But tear down and set up is literally seconds. It's super nice and easy. This is such a different year from last year when we hooked that aerator up. There was still safe ice. I think I had over a foot of ice. And it took about 5 days, I think, on that video to get the air to break through the ice. But I can already see it coming through a couple of my old ice fishing holes. So we're gonna have a hole in this ice tomorrow for sure. So early March, the pond season starts up here super early this year, kind of crazy, kind of weird, but we've got pretty much no snow anywhere. Always exciting to see what your water looks like once the ice melts, and I haven't seen into the pond because this ice has been on here for a few months. One thing I've learned over the last couple of years of trying to keep a pond nice and clear is your number one enemy is erosion and groundwater going into the pond. And I had a little bit of a problem this year in the thaw. It rained pretty hard a couple days ago while the snow was melting, and that was just a little bit too much water for my soft little sand berm here, and it poured in these two spots. I keep all this water trying to go around to the far side and into a drain over there, and it just broke through here. But all this water here, I try to keep up high and don't let it fall into the pond. And it got through here, you can see too. So that water will come all the way around the pond, staying up high, and then come into this drain here. And then that drains off to the side away from the pond. So this has worked really well as long as I don't spring a leak like I did this year. And that's probably the number one key. If you can just keep that groundwater from running into your pond, you'll eliminate all that organic matter, any of those nutrients that you just don't want in your water. That's probably the number one thing. So we'll check back later in the week and see what kind of a hole we put into this big sheet of ice. It's the middle of March. The geese are back from the south. There's not a lot of ice on the river. It's pretty much wide open. The pond aerator's been going at this pond now for about 10 days. It's got a big hole popped in the ice, and the ice is starting to melt. But I looked out this morning and see that the pond aerator is no longer pumping air. It's full sun, so this unit should be sending a lot of oxygen down into the water. So we'll have to check and see if maybe the wires are loose in the back, or it's been a couple years now, possibly my little pumps are dead. Not much ice left, a couple more sunny days, and that ice will pretty much be gone for the season. So this is a very simple unit. You can see the pumps are right here in the back through this clear plastic case. I can see everything in there. I don't know, I wiggle it, I shake it, nothing turns on, so I'm guessing the pumps have burnt out. I think we are out of luck. Everything is tight. Oh. Oh. Oh, what's that? Probably not. Yeah, we may actually have something blocking our line going to the diffuser at the bottom of the pond, which I can't quite figure out. I taped this shut for the winter. The machine ran for 10 days, no problem. But when I release some air, the pumps fire on. So they're under some pressure right now. This pipe feels pretty firm. So I'm gonna cut it off and see what happens. Oh yeah. Maybe? Should I be able to blow in that? Ooh. How can that be plugged? I don't know. I think they run harder than that normally, but I can shut them off if I block the airline. And then they don't turn back on until you rattle them around. So I think there's something wrong with my pumps here. I'll get to the bottom of that aeration problem. I want to get that thing back up and running, but just wanted to give you a quick update. The ice is almost off here, and the water's low. The water's low everywhere in the region. It was a very snowless winter. Last year, this water was all up here for probably 30, 40 feet that way. The minnows were swimming on the warm sand. Right now I can walk across it. There's our Christmas tree from this past Christmas. It's blown into the pond, and I'm gonna try to get it before I fall in here. Yeah, that's pretty frozen. Well, so much for that idea. Once the ice melts, I'll grab the Christmas tree wherever it floats to shore, and then we'll put a cinder block on it, wire it together, and throw it in for some more fish structure. They just love those Christmas trees. Well, winter's back this week. It's been really cold this week. I got my pumps yesterday, so we can try to change these over. But we got ice on the pond now. It's frozen back up. Really cool when the pond freezes over with a thin layer of ice. There's probably only a ½ inch there, but it's crystal clear. You can see straight down through it. It was easier to change the motors over flat, so I just took the panel off the post, put it on the ground, and it's actually a fairly simple changeover. You just have the quick connects here, hook your air hoses up, and it was like 10 minutes, not a big deal. We'll put the cover plate on and see if this works. All right, now the moment of truth. Did I hook it up properly? Oh yeah, that sounds better. It was in fact bad brushes on the motor, so a quick change out and we should be good to go for a couple more years. The sun's still pretty low this time of year. Go like that maybe. Those pumps are definitely putting out more air than they were before. We have a bit of a windy day. I would not normally shoot a video on a windy day, but I came out to check how the aerator was doing. We changed the pumps, we fixed the air leak. It's throwing some nice bubbles right now, lots of air going into that water. Looks great, but I was looking at that and then I looked over here and we have a dead fish